Let's talk about the Iran-Israel situation, shall we? Which really doesn't involve the United States, or rather shouldn't involve the United States, and wouldn't involve the United States if our foreign policy wasn't dominated by people who support anything and everything that Israel does, no matter what. And I'm not even saying that Israel is wrong to do this, but it really shouldn't be any of our problem. The only reason that it is, well, like I said, which you're not supposed to say. In fact, the only reason that the Iranian regime and radical Muslims in the Middle East hate America is because of our financial and military support of Israel for over a half a century. So let's get into this. This is going to be a doozy, so get your coffee ready. Some diehard MAGAs are upset with President Trump for supposedly getting us involved in another war over in the Middle East, but these are the same people who said that they were getting off the Trump train back in 2017 when Trump did strike an air base in Syria, which everybody has since forgotten about. And President Trump did order the drone strike and killed an Iranian commander in Baghdad back in 2020. And so that did not get us sucked into a larger regional conflict, did not start World War III, and everybody forgot about that. But now the United States is aiding Israel in intercepting Iran's retaliatory strikes as the conflict is escalating. And this still could be argued that this is not us being involved offensively. This is just defensively. But still, this is a whole other level of involvement. Of course, the neocons are salivating. Lindsey Graham undoubtedly pleasuring himself to the news, posting "Game on" on Twitter, on X, because to him, it is just a game. To Lindsey Graham, he always wants more for Israel, despite, well, our country on the verge of bankruptcy, our national debt out of control, getting to the point where we won't even be able to pay the interest in the near future. But he really likes those rent boys that Israel provides for him, so he'll do anything they say. The only person on planet Earth happier is Ben Shapiro, who for years has mocked President Trump's statements, tactics, and strategies as being 4D chess, using that as a derogatory term, but now believes that President Trump has pulled off the ultimate 4D chess game to set the stage so that Israel could take out one of their mortal enemies.
This appears to be an actual, real-life 4D chess move by the President of the United States to put Iran in a box, to keep them there, and then to allow for the possibility of Israel to destroy their nuclear facilities, large swaths of their military capability, with no risk to American troops.
Well, it's really not that hard, Ben. You just have an America first foreign policy, and you don't leverage the power of the United States to meddle in the affairs of foreign countries, especially their ongoing ethnic land disputes in their region. Stay tuned, because there's plenty more to come in this video, but real quick, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, because you're not going to hear any information like this on Fox News or Newsmax or any of the brand name Conservative Inc. podcasts or YouTube channels. For at least 30 years, Israel has been claiming that Iran is just a few years away from building an atomic bomb. This from the New York Times. Back in 1995, Iran may be able to build an atomic bomb in 5 years. U.S. and Israeli officials fear. U.S. and Israeli disinformation agents are spreading. And who remembers this bizarre presentation by Benjamin Netanyahu at the United Nations back in 2012, where he pulled out this diagram showing that Iran was in the final stages back then, 13 years ago, of building the bomb?
Here's a diagram. This is a bomb. This is a fuse. In the case of Iran's nuclear plans to build a bomb,
he got this from the Acme Corp, the prop department over from Warner Brothers Studios.
This bomb has to be filled with enough enriched uranium. And Iran has to go through 3 stages. Where's Iran? Iran's completed the first stage. Now they're well into the second stage. And by next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates, they will have finished the medium enrichment and move on to the final stage. From there, it's only a few months, possibly a few weeks.
Oh, again, this is from September of 2012. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene sums up the situation best by saying, "I don't know anyone who even thinks about Iran. Americans don't want to bomb Iran because the secular government of Israel," that's the key there, secular government. A lot of people, especially Christians, think that Israel is like a Jewish religious country, but it actually is not. Most Jews don't even believe in God. They're atheists. That's a whole other story. So the secular government of Israel says that Iran is on the verge of deploying a nuclear bomb any day now. We've been told that for the past 20 years. Same story. Everyone I know is tired of U.S. intervention and regime change in foreign countries. That's a very difficult thing to say for a member of Congress. As Matt Gaetz elaborates here, former member of Congress turned talk show host on OAN One America News.
If I want to get into government, do I have to support Israel?
You know, the Israel lobby has an incredible power over the decisions that government makes. And what we've seen is on the left or on the right, if you question the policies of the Israeli government, legitimately, people will accuse you of anti-Semitism. And that is weird and wrong and kind of unlike anything else we see anywhere else.
And you're not supposed to talk about one of the most powerful lobbying agencies in the world, AIPAC, the American Israel Political Action Committee, but Congressman Thomas Massie did, and put a huge target on his back, revealing this.
By the way, everybody but me has an AIPAC person.
What does that mean, an AIPAC person?
It's like your babysitter, your AIPAC babysitter, who is always talking to you for AIPAC. They're probably a constituent in your district, but they are, firmly embedded in AIPAC. And
every member has something like this?
I don't know how it works on the Democrat side, but that's how it works on the Republican side.
To lobby for a foreign country. They're literally lobbying members of Congress on behalf of a foreign country while not having to register as agents of that foreign country. Many decades ago, the great Pat Buchanan tried to warn the American people that many members of Congress had, how shall we say, an allegiance to a certain foreign country that often conflicted with putting America first.
You've also said that Congress is an Israeli-occupied territory. Now, what do you mean by that?
The most powerful lobby in Washington, which Congress can't stand up to, one of the most powerful, is certainly the pro-Israeli lobby. It has gotten its way in this town year in and year out. And I don't think the automatic votes of the Congress of the United States for $3 and $4 billion worth of aid to Israel are necessarily in the national interest of the United States. And that comment, which is to ridicule the subservience of the Congress of the United States, is perfectly valid.
Not only is it valid, but you got to admit that it's extremely interesting how most of the ultra-MAGA America's supposed first political pundits and members of Congress are against giving foreign aid to Ukraine. And they say, no more foreign aid, no more foreign wars anywhere on planet Earth except for Israel. Here's President Richard Nixon weighing in on the influence of a certain foreign country and those who have ties to it.
Let me explain something about what is called the Jewish lobby in this country. In the first place, Jews, understandably in the United States, because of what happened in World War II, because of the Holocaust, are going to put first priority on the survival of Israel. Now,
no, that's considered to be extremely an anti-Semitic thing to say. By the way, that's the dual loyalty trope.
As good Americans as they are, they believe that America's survival and security is directly related to Israel's. In other words, their belief is that being for Israel first means that does not mean you're putting America second, because they think it goes together. An American president, however, has to approach it in a different way, in my opinion. He's got always to think first of what
about Americans. About our own country first and only. And remember when little Ben assured his audience of this?
Nobody is calling for America to go to war with Iran.
A few moments later.
The United States must get involved in this fight in order to protect the United States. God bless America. God bless the United States of Israel. God bless every innocent person.
That's Rabbi Shmuley, by the way, who is weaseled his way into the corridors of power and into the lives of various celebrities as their spiritual advisor. I mean, what's next? Is Jordan Peterson going to encourage his audience to lobby members of Congress to institute a regime change in Iran? Oh, wait, what's this?
If any of you have been particularly taken by this story today, you could always put pen to paper and write your congressman or your senator and let them know that you're not all that happy about the situation in Iran, and that if the politicians got their act together and were stalwart in their opposition to this fundamentalist, totalitarian, misogynistic, brutal regime, that maybe it could be pushed over and that would be a nice object lesson to totalitarian tyrants everywhere in the world.
No one is calling for the United States to go to war with Iran, says Little Ben, except that's literally been the Neocon position for decades. Remember this classic from John McCain?
When do we send them an airmail message to Tehran? That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran? Bomb, bomb, bomb. Anyway.
And then there's the former head of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, who told 60 Minutes this.
So, Leslie, there has been a lot of speculation about whether Israel would go it alone, would attack Iran all on its own. What does Mayor Dagan say about that?
Well, he thinks it's a mistake generally to make it an Israeli-Iranian issue. It should be an international issue. Somehow the Saudis should be encouraged to speak up and pressure the United States. And what he really would like to happen is Israel sits back and the Americans do it for the Israelis. It would then be internationalized. He knows that Israel will be attacked, whoever does it, but they'll be attacked less. And what he's most worried about is the retaliation.
Sadly, there may be retaliation on American soil. God forbid anything happens. But again, if it does, it's not because they hate America for our freedom, like they said during 9/11, which is why they claimed Al-Qaeda attacked us. It's because they hate us because we financially and militarily support Israel. Have you heard of the clean break memo? Of course not, if you only listen to the brand name Republican conservative talk show hosts and Fox News and Newsmax. As good a work as they do, of course, they do have major flaws as well. But the clean break memo is a memo that was prepared back in the 1990s by neocons, along with Benjamin Netanyahu, the then, and again, Prime Minister of Israel, where they laid out their new approach to solving Israel's security problems in the Middle East, which emphasized a regime change in Iraq. And then lo and behold, they later scammed America and the rest of the world with their WMD hoax. And Glenn Beck has had an epiphany. He wasn't sure why he was even born, but now he has figured it out. His sole reason for being on planet Earth is to support Israel.
I don't know why I was born, but there is something about the state of Israel that connects deeply to me.
Something about the United States of America that connects deeply to me. But go on.
To have the privilege to stand with the Jew is a tremendous honor. Spiritually.
You may recall that the Jews actually don't believe in Jesus, right? And the Jews that dominate the government in Israel are not the religious Jews of the Old Testament. They are secular atheist Jews. They're Ginos, Jews in name only.
So I want to read a letter that I wrote that I am sending to the state of Israel.
I'll spare you any more of the cringe. He is begging for citizenship over there in Israel. I know a lot of Christians just don't understand that Israel is not a religious Jewish country. It's a secular country. To help you figure that out, you should know that Tel Aviv is the LGBT capital of the Middle East. So if it really was a Jewish country in the religious sense, which of course it's not, this certainly wouldn't be happening. It's not that hard. Christians are God's chosen people, not some ethnic group in the Middle East that mostly doesn't even believe in him, and especially doesn't even believe in Jesus. Here's a meme to help you understand. This is my country, our country, and this other one is not our country. And here's how many in that country, not all, to be fair, but many in that country feel about Christians.
Conservative Christian leaders are calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop a bill proposed by members of his coalition to make it criminal to tell people about Jesus in Israel. Our Jerusalem correspondent Daniel Cohen is live near Tel Aviv with more. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Allison. Good morning, everyone. A big story just before days before Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter. Sacred time for Christians. 2 ultra-Orthodox members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition have introduced a bill that would punish believers for sharing the gospel of Jesus with prison time. United Torah Judaism Knesset members Moshe Gafni and Yaakov Asher introduced legislation last week making it illegal to share in conversation or produce content online, in print, or by mail. Their explanation of the bill emphasizes a warning to stop Christians in particular.
Because it's anti-Semitic to do so, they say. And in case you've been living under a rock and aren't a regular viewer of mine, the documents from the NSA that Edward Snowden leaked reveal that American intelligence agencies, which they will never admit this publicly, no politician will say this, and none of the talk shows will say this, but Israel is considered to be a top spy threat to the United States. Our number one ally is top spy threat. Well, this video was a doozy, wasn't it? I'm just tired of seeing all the cheerleading and the obsession about the problems in foreign countries on the other side of the planet, which have nothing to do, or really shouldn't at least have anything to do with the United States. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and if you want to sponsor my work, click the link in the description below to join my locals community. It's a subscription blog. It's $5 a month. Your subscription helps support my work, and you can access some material that's a little bit too spicy to be posting on YouTube. So click the link in the description below, head on over there, and check it out.